And we're live here on YouTube, like the world knows, listening in podcast land, and also like to welcome my buddy Rich. Rich, how's it going this week?
It was a challenging week. So got hurt at the gym by missing a box jump, and that caused some when landing on the box. Coming down on it, injured my rib. Probably can't see it based off being injured a little bit of some damaged cartilage around my ribs. So, but it's getting better. So bending down is feeling it when I'm bending down. Have a little bit of heavy breathing, coughing, but it's getting better.
Yeah, good. And
how was your week? How was your week?
The week was fine. Things are finally getting into the swing of things. We are the school year is underway. We are starting to get relief. We're starting to get a little caught up, and it's been a good week. So, and then we had a game last night. We don't have a game next week, so that'll be nice. And then just two more games on the season for football. Okay. So
seems to be wrapping up really quick.
I mean, we got a month. We're away next week. We're home the week after. We're away the week after. We're home the week after, and I think that's the last home game. And then we have 2 away games or something like that.
Gotcha.
So, but it's been good. We're having fun. So, Rich, we got some stuff to talk about. What a week. In sports, we have to talk about, I forgot to mention it last week, the return of the man in the NASCAR corner. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
That's a hidden topic that Rich doesn't even know about, but it's tied into the NASCAR corner. So, also, we're going to talk about what we're gonna give some power rankings. What else we got, Rich?
Mike, we got to recap week 1 of the NFL and give our picks for week number 2, and probably one of our favorite Cubs officially announced his retirement. So we'll be talking about that along with the week in Cubs baseball. But all that and more. But what do we got to do first?
We got to go ahead and
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.
Okay, Rich, this week, before we do any of that, by the way, if that didn't wake up my father from sleeping in the guest bedroom, I don't know what will. This week, we had a poll question. Last week's poll question was the
hunting versus jumping into a pile of leaves.
Yep.
While you're looking up the results, Mike, I voted for hunting.
Yeah.
Although I've never been hunting, but I think my justification for not going with jumping into a pile of leaves, it's twofold here. Jumping into a pile of leaves involves some yard work, so you got to make the pile of leaves so you can jump into it. And I had I don't remember what age I was, but I do remember having a bad back injury, having a really bad back injury jumping into a pile of leaves when I was younger. So
yeah.
A little bit of traumatized from that. Maybe not traumatized, but there's a core memory of that happening, and of getting injured jumping into a pile of leaves. So I had to go with something I've never done.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a seasonal thing. Hunting goes throughout the entire fall season, not just on a particular month or over a couple of weeks, like some of our activities.
Yeah. So I actually voted for hunting because I love hunting. If nothing more, being out in the fresh air, filling your freezer you're physically feeding your family. You're providing sustenance to them in a way that shopping for groceries just doesn't hit the same. But that does not mean that I think that that is the end all be all. I do like hunting, but the big reason I didn't vote for jumping in a pile of leaves, and it's actually one that I thought you were going to talk about, Rich.
Okay, what's that?
What do you have that runs around your backyard and does his business back there?
I have a dog.
Yeah, so if you pile the leaves and you're not paying attention because there's lots of leaves on the ground, there might be a little biscuit down there, and when you jump in, you might end up with some poop. And I don't want to end up with some poop. However, we are people. We are men of the people, and your votes matter. There were only 2 votes for hunting, Rich.
And they were us?
They were us. There were 5 votes for jumping into a pile of leaves. Those votes were Solomon Stroop, Deborah Palmer, AJ Hendricks, Danielle Hart, and Austin Shriepeck. So y'all enjoy jumping into your piles of dog poop and leaves. Hopefully no poop is in your way. So jumping into a pile of leaves will move on. Rich, what's this week going to have for us?
This week, we'll go with our 4-5 matchup, because I had to wait for the results so I could make the second round. And we're going to go trick-or-treating or apple picking. Trick-or-treating, apple picking. Trick-or-treating got a bye because of their number 4 seed, and apple picking won our very first matchup.
Yeah.
When we started this.
Okay. So, Rich, with that, we'll see that on the poll. Look for that on Rich's Facebook page, my Facebook page, or more importantly, if you haven't done so yet, jump on over to facebook.com/fans of balls and sticks and join the community there. We have a couple of people that post there regularly, but in general, that's where our poll questions are, and we would love to have more discussions with you. If you have a topic you want us to talk about, if we look at it and we feel like it'll fit in there, we will take it from there. I am not opposed. If you look, Bernie Calkins has multiple times put things on there, and Rich and I have both decided, you know what? That deserves to be a topic of discussion. So you can contribute to the show. We don't have a call-in line. You can't call my phone. My phone is only to call people to answer the poll question if it's a tie. You can't call us, but what you can do is you can jump on facebook.com/fans of balls and sticks and join the party. We also put it on the facebook.com/balls and sticks page. If all you want to do is like our page, that's fine too. Normally that's just a poll question, and I think that's pretty much it anymore. We used to broadcast there. We might go back to broadcasting there because we did have a lot more connection there, but we'll see what happens. But with that, Rich, let's go ahead and move on down the road as we keep making left turns, or as we see what's coming up next. What is it, Rich?
All right. Is it a left turn, Mike?
And after that?
It's probably another left-hand turn, Mike.
And tell the people why.
All right. Because we're going to go into the NASCAR Corner. The NASCAR Corner is presented by III Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois, and you can also find them on Facebook. III Sports Cards Incorporated, not Facebook. Well, they're on Facebook too, but you can find them on an eBay store to buy their products. So, Mike, last week we were at the Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois for the Enjoy Illinois 300. Mike, what were the results?
So, you had Denny Hamlin winning the race. Made me happy as a clam. Joey Logano took 5th. Carson Hocevar took 15th. Rich, your picks giving you the win for the playoff driver. Ryan Blaney got 4th, but A.J. Allmendinger got 23rd. We are currently tied 15-15 on the season. With that, we have a Saturday night race in Bristol, Tennessee.
All
The
right.
last great Coliseum.
All right, before we talk about the Bristol race, Mike, let's see how our drivers are doing. So, Mike, as you alluded, your favorite driver of Denny Hamlin is moving on to the next round with last week's win. My favorite driver of Ross Chastain is still above the cut line, but is 11th. Now, for our picks to win the entire thing, my pick of William Byron is in 6th in the standings, and your pick of Christopher Bell is number 8 in the standings. So going into Bristol, all 4 of our drivers between favorite and our preseason pick is all the way are above the cut line and are going should advance into the next round. Below the cut line is Austin Dillon, Shane Van Gisbergen, Alex Bowman, and Josh Berry. One last chance for those guys.
Yeah.
To move on. So, Bass Pro Shops night race, going to be a Saturday night race over on USA. For the playoff driver, Mike, I think I got to take the favorite in this and go Kyle Larson. The Hendricks cars normally do pretty good at Bristol. So I think they finally snap Joe Gibbs Racing winning streak.
Yeah, I like that as a good pick. But I'm going to pick somebody in a different Chevy.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm going to pick your favorite driver. I'm going to take Ross Chastain. That way you can't cheer against me for my playoff driver. And I'm going to take Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I have no clue why. I'm just taking him.
Gotcha. I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs. He's got a good track history at Bristol, and so I'm hoping I can get 2 points, maybe even 3 out of this with these 2 drivers. So you can catch that race over on the USA Network.
Hey, you could if you have a perfect weekend, you can get 4 points.
That's right. I could get 4 if both those guys finish first and second.
That's we made those rules a couple years ago, and I stand by it. If you get first and second, you get 4 points. Like that's only makes sense. So, okay, Rich. This any other NASCAR news that you want to talk about?
I did. That you have one.
I did. We forgot to talk about last week at Bristol on Thursday night. ARCA raced, and with ARCA raced one Cletus McFarland. Cletus McFarland ran the NASCAR race, or the ARCA race. In the ARCA race, he struggled. He went down a few laps, but he admitted that those. Now, again, we're talking guys that are in what is technically not even a NASCAR-sanctioned race. This is ARCA. This is below any NASCAR. Like, they're loosely affiliated, but they are not technically part of NASCAR. So these guys are not as good as trucks or the Bush, or what's it called now?
Xfinity. It's going to be O'Reilly.
Okay. Xfinity, O'Reilly, Cup, whatever.
It's a development series.
It is the equivalent of what the Quad Cities has at high A baseball. And and actually that actually works really well as an example. This is high A baseball because ARCA actually has 2 or 3 different series, and the one that he raced in is the top of the ARCA series, and that is and so he legitimately raced in the top ARCA series, which is still below anything that's in actual baseball or in actual NASCAR. And then you have the trucks, which is like AA, and then you have then you have Xfinity, which is like AAA, and then you have NASCAR, which is like the show, or the Cup Series. I'm sorry, it's the Cup Series. But he did. He did all right. He didn't lose positions and he didn't gain positions. He went down a couple laps, but he talked about how the leaders were legitimately driving his doors off. Like he felt like he was standing still. He learned a lot, and in fact, at times he had, from what I understand, and again, I was watching I watched his in-car that they got. So they did his in-car again, and in the in-car they actually just put the spotter stuff on, his radio communication on the entire time. That's all it was. So you actually got good audio too from it, and because of that, they talked a bit, but it sounds like he put up a couple laps that were right on par with the leaders, but he didn't have consistency on it. And the biggest thing was when moving through traffic, he couldn't keep up. And that's when he talked about how those leaders were just blazing compared to what he could do. And that doesn't people on Facebook, and I'm on a couple of groups on Facebook that are fan clubs of his, and people are like, oh, he's going to do the truck series next year. He was getting blown out of the water doing the ARCA race at Bristol. If he did trucks, he would feel like a fool.
Well, he's not even running full time in ARCA. It's been select races.
Yeah.
In there.
So next year he's going to run, I think it's a half schedule, but he's going to run a pretty decent schedule, and then we'll see what happens after that. Like I like it. I like it for the sport. I think it's going to be great. I think it's still going to be like, give it 3 to 5 years, and you're going to see it. I genuinely think 3 to 5 years you will see him do the 500. And that will be huge. And NASCAR will see biggest ratings they've seen in years. So, anyway, that's all I had. I just thought it was a fun thing. I've been bringing it up every time he's raced, and I forgot to do that last week. But he was on the ARCA race. And they raced on a Thursday night, which was weird. And they raced at like 5:30 Central Time, so that was even more weird. Yeah. So, with that, Rich, this has been the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Let's keep making left turns as we head into baseball talk. 16 games left, Rich. How do you feel about that?
I feel good.
Okay.
So, feel good. We're in a place to we're making the playoffs. I don't know how far we're gonna go. We're at least gonna we're gonna get 3 more games at least. 2 to 3 more games at least.
Right. So we are 5 back in the Central, and we are number 1 in the wild card.
Yeah. So they'll get 2 to 3 home games out of it.
Yep.
At the very least. So. Last week they had 2 games against the Nats that from show to show that they dropped, which was kind of disappointing with the way with the season that the Nationals are having. They went down to Atlanta and took 2 out of 3 with the Braves, and then came home and took the opener in their 3-game series with the Rays, giving them 3 wins on the week. So you were correct, as I went with 4. I really thought they would have gotten one of those games against the Nats over the weekend on the Saturday, Sunday.
By the way, how crazy is it that the Cubs are have the 3rd best record in the National League, and the 4th best record is held by
the Dodgers.
The Dodgers. I don't understand how the Dodgers are doing this. Like, we thought they'd be pushing 110 games this year. I'm maybe not you, but I legitimately thought they'd be pushing 110 games this year. And
they've dealt with some injuries, and not everybody has stayed healthy.
But they've been,
and I don't think that they're dealing with any slumps or anything, though.
No, but again, the Brewers continue to be on a tear. They're the first team with 90 wins on the season. Who would have thought that? Who saw that one coming? They are they are just on a tear. I am shocked at how well they're doing this year. They look I mean, they look like they're, man, unless something happens in the next 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't want to play the Brewers at all. I don't. In the playoffs. That's going to be the scariest thing out there right now. So, okay.
All right, Mike. So this week it's 2 home games against the Rays, and then they're going back out on the road. They're going to go visit the Pirates for 3 games up in Cincinnati, and then Pittsburgh, and then they're going to go down for 2 games against the Reds from show to show.
Yeah.
7 games.
7 games. All games that they, legitimately, they should win at least. Like, the Pirates, they should win almost all of those. And the Reds, they should win almost all of those. I'm actually going to up mine to 6. I think they can get 1 more out of the Rays. They might be able to sweep the Rays. I don't know. But Pittsburgh and Cincy, I mean, 2 of the worst teams. Like, Cincy is just over 500. So I guess they're not that bad. But, man, we are way better than them. We're 10 games better than them. We should win all 3 of those. And the Pirates are just in the toilet. Which, even the Pirates being in the toilet, in the Central, isn't even the toilet. They are 20 games under 500. But
yeah, the thing with the Pittsburgh series is I don't know if their ace Paul Skeens will be pitching in one of those 3 games, but the strategy that you almost got to have with him is, all right, let's get this guy's pitch count up, because they know that they'll get into the bullpen if they can get him out of the game by the 6th inning and keep it close. So I'm going to go with 5 games. It's always tough to sweep somebody. And I'd even be happy if it was 4 wins out of this, where at least you have a winning week.
Yeah.
And you can keep that home playoff game alive. Because they play a lot better than they do on the road. Although, I think if we had the lower seed, like a 5 or a 6 seed, we get to go to Philadelphia instead of playing Milwaukee for 5 games. For a 5-game series as the top wild card, because they don't reseed the bracket. They don't reseed the bracket if the higher seed wins, to where I don't think we would go to Philly if we won. We automatically slot in and go to Milwaukee. But that would have its advantage too, as Milwaukee's a lot shorter drive for Chicago fans than going all the way out to Philly.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah. That is crazy.
It does not look like the higher seed or the lower seed goes to it. It looks like the bracket is set.
No, it's set.
So regardless of, even if you have a higher seed, you're going to face the number 1 seed instead of going to the number 2 seed, I think. But I'm hope I'm wrong on that. So big news in Cubs baseball, as it was Anthony Rizzo officially announced his retirement. He signed a 1-day contract to retire as a Cub, and he will now go to the front office to be a team ambassador. So he has a little bit of a token front office position. So.
I don't know how I feel about the ambassador role. I think he legitimately could do some things more than just be a team ambassador. I don't like that as a role in general. Personally, I think
well, the thing is, I don't know how involved a special assistant to the president or to the GM really is, and he still runs a good I think he still does things with
he does
patients with his organization, his charitable organization. So maybe an assistant to the general manager, which just was too much of a responsibility, and being an ambassador to go out in the name of the Cubs in the community, and maybe getting back involved with the cancer patients in the Chicago area in the team's name instead of in his charity's name, is going to be what fits his lifestyle and what fits his family right now.
And I'm gonna make a statement, and maybe it's a little controversial to Cubs fans, but it feels like the current Cubs and slash the organization is taking a book out of the Cardinal page. If you were a faithful Cardinal, they legitimately took care of, they set you up for life. In the past, they did things like they I don't know if they called them ambassadors, but they gave people positions like this very regularly.
Well, no, I mean they do. The Cubs have done this before.
They have.
They have like Billy Williams and
Right. What I'm saying though
Bernie
is
Jenkins, Lee Smith. This is just the first recent Cub to come out and say you're an ambassador for us. Ryan Sandberg was an ambassador.
Right. No, and I'm not denying that. I'm just saying it seems like we're doing it more and more, similar to how the Red Sox or the Cardinals did things for years. Like if you look at the Cardinals organization, if you were a Cardinal and you left in good standing, you essentially were going to be on the payroll almost forever. And I don't, like, that's great. I love that as a thing, but I don't like, I don't know, I struggle with it. I think he does, I think he could do so much more. And again, it depends, and I'm sure, this is where I'll end on this. I'm sure if he wanted to do something like be a coach or like an assistant coach of like a bench coach or something like that, they'd let him do it. In a heartbeat, they'd let him do it. But
yeah, maybe down the road when his kids get older, maybe he will be more of a presence. Maybe he will go down and he'll be in Chicago, being with the team and in uniform a little bit more often than other than just being there for pre and pro, maybe doing some pregame publicity things for the team or visiting cancer patients on the team's behalf again. Yeah, I'm sure with this position he'll be a presence in Mesa, doing maybe some things with the development league team or maybe in spring training.
And he'll be at the Cubs convention every year and doing those things. And I'm not mad at it. I'm actually thrilled. That's why we called it. Why we went with the name we did. That's why we did. Like I am extremely happy. This is what's happening.
Yeah, for me, I really thought that Rizzo was gonna. The only way I can think of it, Mike, that popped in my head is I really thought that Rizzo would be the one Cub that went down with the ship when the 2016 team was gradually starting to wear out where it was time to break up the team.
Yep.
I really thought that Rizzo would have went down with the ship and held down first base until it was time for him to retire, instead of being traded and going out to New York. But he was from the New England area, so at least he got to play close to home for those last couple of years.
Yeah. No, I thought he was from Florida.
I could have swore it was the New York. I thought it was in the New England area there, where he was from.
I mean, I did get to see him at the inaugural Field of Dreams game.
No, you didn't. No, was he a Yankee then? He might have been. Yeah, you're right. I think he might have been a Yankee then.
2021. I think he was. I'm pretty sure he was.
But good on him. I thought it was really cool. The jersey that he's going to be wearing it has signatures of all the cancer patients that he visited while a member of the Cubs. I guess he always wore the same jersey when he went to the hospitals to visit these kids, and so he's going to wear that jersey when he walks out on the field to get one last standing ovation from the crowd and gets to tip his cap and go out on top as a Cub for his token one-day contract.
Yeah.
With the team.
I did confirm that he was on the team, I think.
But you don't know whether he had an at-bat in that game.
I thought he did. But I don't remember all the way. I don't remember. Oh, wait. Box score. I can pull up the box score from the day.
Gotcha.
White Sox. He did not get an at-bat that day.
Okay.
But he was on the team, so I did get to see him there. He just didn't get an at-bat.
So I guess one final thing. Do you see anybody else, maybe from that team, getting a similar type role? I think John Lester may or may not have one since he has a connection.
Yeah, no, John
Lester.
I
thought he had one.
I mean, Grandpa Ross has one already.
Okay.
And doesn't. So the people that do doesn't. The guy that went to Olivet. Got traded. Second baseman.
I don't know if Zobrist does have.
Yeah, did Zobrist? I thought Zobrist did. He. It does not look like he has any official. Yeah, he does not have any official title with the Cubs. So, Zobrist does not. And again, Zobrist, the only reason why we think of him as a Cub is because he won the World Series with the Cubs. It's also, how crazy is it that he played in 2 World Series back-to-back and he won both of those with different teams. Like, that's so crazy. Anyway, no, I think he's done. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I would think Jake Arrieta because you think of him as a Cub out of any major league team that he played with. You think of him as a Cub. You can easily associate John Lester as a Red Sox, as much as you can a Cub.
Jake Arrieta's best years were with the Cubs. We got the best out of that man. A person that at the time, if you would have asked me at the time about it, I would have said Kyle Schwarber, but I don't think I would anymore.
He was the one that got away. I think at the time, by all means, I think at the time we were thinking, all right, yep, there isn't a DH. Where are we going to play him?
Yeah.
And then 3-4 years later,
yeah,
DH is universal, and darn it, he was the one that got away.
Well, and on top of it, like, wasn't he? What didn't he come up through the Cubs? Like he was 100% homegrown. He was like the Schwarber smash. Like the man was amazing. The problem is that he got traded. There was no reason. Like there is always a reason to keep someone, but there is no good business sense to keep someone. There's not always a good business reason to keep someone. And at the time, Kyle Schwarber was a guy that you had no reason to keep. We didn't have a spot for him anymore. He couldn't. So again, and I know you know this, Rich. Coming through the minors, what position did he play?
He was a catcher.
He was a catcher. We had one of the best catchers. We had 2 great catchers in the lineup already. He wasn't going to play catcher. Then he busted up his knee in left field and was out for all but the World Series for that season, comes back and Schwarber smash, which was great. But his legs couldn't. He did not have the speed that he needed in the outfield. So the only real position that you could put him in was a DH, and
maybe first base, because I think it was Boston used him as a first baseman, tried him out at first base. But
again, at the time,
you had Rizzo at first base. Were you going to unseat him? No, the National League didn't have a DH, so that wasn't an option. And you also had Ian Happ was a hot prospect that was coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, so to me, like, it business-wise, it made sense for him to go. But, again, so all that to say, Kyle Schwarber, to me, was one of those guys that, in 16, he is the heart of the Cubs. Like, don't get me wrong, Rizzo, the Bryant-Rizzo combination, was the heart of the Cubs. But I'm talking you and I looked at Kyle Schwarber as he's our guy. We drafted him, we kept him, and we brought him up through the system in such a way that he's our guy. And this is who we thought was going to lead our team in the future back then. But when we started looking at the business side of it, which, by the way, that was a gut-wrenching discussion that we had to have when we let Kyle Schwarber go to me. That was one of those gut-wrenching things that it hurt watching him leave. For me.
Yeah, he was just the first one that was deemed expendable.
Yeah.
With the way the roster was constructed.
And I think he was. Like, the way the roster was constructed, I think he was. But if we would have had the foresight to know that 2 years later, 3 years later, whatever it was, he was going to be we could have just stuck him in at DH. No, you can't keep him for 2 or 3 years on the payroll just to get him by. No, I get that. But man.
Yep, they would have had to have found a way to get him at bats in left field.
What about Chris Bryant?
Yeah, we obviously, with the way he's played since he left Chicago, we got the best years out of that guy.
Yep. And again, Rizzo, that combination. The ESPN, their Sunday Night Baseball advertisement focused around Rizzo. And that wasn't just when the Cubs played. Like, Bryant-Rizzo combo was everywhere. Does Chris Bryant get a similar retire as a Cub?
You know what? He might. But I'm thinking of if the only other guy that I'm thinking of that you only think of him as a Cub, mainly because it's been the only place he's played, and he's done so much, would probably be Ian Happ. Just as much, he's been with the club. He had a rough start when he came in to be the center fielder back in 17.
Yeah.
But he's earned that. He's earned that kind of, like, you think that he's probably going to retire as a Cub.
Yeah.
Because of all the things he's done with his social media platform, of his show now being.
His show's on Marquee.
Yeah, it's on Marquee now.
Like, if they that's another thing. Like, has that painted them into a corner
To keep him.
that he has to be a Cub?
I don't know. But it seems like they were preparing him for that. I mean, that was.
And I'm good with that.
That was one of their original guys. That was one of their guys that they drafted.
Yep, 100%. I'm down with it. I love Ian Happ. By the way, hear me out. Is he the next Ron Coomer? Is he the next color guy for radio? Or the color guy for the TV.
I could see him going into that because he's already got that media.
Yeah, he's got the media savvy. He's got the ability. He has the media savvy. He has the knowledge he also has the knowledge of the game. He is a genius when it comes to baseball. Listen to his podcast. I don't know who I would put that towards, but those are the guys. Like Addison Russell will not, and part of that is how he exited the game. Jason Hayward was a Cardinal. I have a hard time thinking of him at anything else.
I think of him more as a Brave, as an Atlanta Brave.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how well that he left on terms with the Cubs.
Yeah. Javi Baez?
I don't think so.
Like, yeah, I can't. I think Bryant and Happ. I think you're right with Happ. I think Happ is I think they are grooming Happ to naturally step into the booth.
Either the booth or he could be in the regular rotation to do a pre and post game show.
Right.
I don't have Marquis, so I don't know if it's a consistent crew every single night, or if there's a rotating former player that steps in and provides his opinion for a couple of days a week, and then they rotate out and bring somebody else in for a couple of games. And I probably never will have Marquee Network. So,
I mean, if I won $1 billion lottery, maybe I'll have the Marquee Network. I could afford, like, honestly, and I think you guys are in the same boat. I could afford to have it, but would I use it enough to make it worth it for me? Like, we have the budget that we could do it. Like, it's not out of the realm of things we could do. I would enjoy having it, but I don't think it's worth it for me. So, probably not going to do it. Okay, with that, Rich, we took up a lot of time with that, a lot more time than I was expecting. But it was our title. It was the title theme of the show. We are at 42 minutes, so we may have to skip power rankings or do a quick smash through on it. With that, let's leave the diamond, head to the gridiron, as we need to talk about the NFL Week 1 and get into Week 2. Week 1 of the NFL saw the Bears play the Vikings. We'll talk about oh man, this is going to be we got to have a discussion on this one. Bears lost.
Yeah, they lost 27-24 to the Vikings, so we are both 0-1. Yeah, you're right. Trying to give us an extra loss. We're both 0-1 in picking the Bears games. I only watched through halftime, so with the late start of it starting at 7:15, I stayed up through halftime and then was just feeling it because I wake up at 4 in the morning, and
I had friends over for that game.
I thought they looked good.
I had friends over at that game. The Bears looked great. I had friends over for the game, and middle of the third quarter, one of the buddies' wives called and said, "Hey man, what's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm probably going to come home and just take a shower and drown this terrible game out. This sucks. We're going to have a terrible year, blah, blah, blah." And then that fourth quarter hit. So
let him leave.
I don't
know, but
that fourth quarter was terrible as a Bears fan.
I thought the team looked good.
I thought they did.
But hey, if anything, maybe JJ McCarthy has that winning gene in him. I think somebody noticed that since he lost like that national championship game 2 years ago, he hasn't lost a game since, because Michigan went undefeated in his senior or junior year.
Yep.
When he guided him to a national championship, he hasn't lost a game. So.
Yep. So a couple of things. One, J.J. McCarthy hadn't played in the NFL. He played like 4 snaps in the preseason, got hurt, didn't play again. By the way, preseason, he wasn't playing with starters. He was playing with his starters, but not actually all the way with the opposing starters. So one of the biggest things, and if you listen to any commentary, especially when you're listening to guys who formerly played and all that, one of the biggest things with the NFL is that the NFL, the pace of the NFL is completely different than anything else. Period. The NFL's pace is faster than any other world of football out there. It's not even close. J.J. McCarthy didn't have the speed of the NFL in the first half of the season. At all. In the first half of the game. First 2.5 quarters of the game, he didn't have the pace of the NFL at all. But you could see all of a sudden it clicked. Like, legitimately it clicked. Now, other things that contributed to him being able to understand the speed, the Bears line was riddled with injuries this week. That D-line, they had lots of injuries this week, so they ended up not being able to do what they want. They couldn't rotate as much. They slowed down a little bit. They were getting tired. But J.J. McCarthy 100% found the pace of the game. And the first half of the game, because he didn't have the pace, the defense didn't get rest. And when the defense doesn't get rest, they get beat up and blah, blah, blah. Those two things combined to making the Bears look amazing. Now, part 3. The Bears defense gets tired. J.J. McCarthy starts to give his defense some rest. And that's what turned the game over. That defense for the Vikings has the potential to be one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. That is why, I was shocked that we were doing so well in the first half. It really was. So, okay. Any other thoughts on the game?
No,
Okay.
I do not have any. Locks of the week, Mike. You got yours correct as you went with the Cardinals over the Saints.
Yep.
That was a 20-14 Saints Cardinal victory. I went with the Broncos over the Titans. The Broncos won 20-14.
Which,
making us both 1-0.
Unfortunately, Rich, you did not do great on your upset of the week as the Seahawks lost to the 49ers 17-13. Drops you down to 0-1. Mine, I was shocked at this. The Indianapolis Colts destroyed the Miami Dolphins 33-8, making me 1-0 on the week. Now, Rich, with that,
I'm getting the score there.
With that, though, does that score reflect more on the Colts or on the Dolphins?
And I'd have to go with the Dolphins.
I
really would. I'm gonna have to go with the Dolphins. So I really didn't watch too much of this game. I didn't think the early slate of games on TV for Week 1 was anything. I was kind of disappointed with our slate. With the slate for those games. So, but yeah, I was surprised. It was 33-8. Yeah. So that hopefully the Dolphins can turn it around, or Mike McDaniel could be out of a job.
Yeah, 100%.
Pretty soon.
100%.
Thursday night football, Mike. It was a 27-18 victory for the Packers. That they just dominated that game. I watched maybe midway through the third quarter in that game. So, Mike, you're now 1-2. 1-2.
Oh, I'm
on
1-2.
Thursday
Yes,
night.
right.
On the Thursday night set of games, I am 2-1. 2-1 for the Thursday night games. So, Mike, let's go really quickly so maybe we can get to power rankings. The Bears are going to be going to Detroit to take on Dan Campbell's Lions.
I'm actually switching this up. I'm going to do a Bears win on this.
Okay.
And I'm probably going to. This is going to hurt me, but I think the Lions looked worse than the Bears did in their game this week.
Okay, that's fair. I'm going to stick with the Lions pick. The Lions have always played better at home and indoors.
And I think they are better, but based on last week, no. Anyway, locks of the week.
If anything, I think it's a tough game to predict because, yes, Ben Johnson, the Lions would know what Ben Johnson's tendencies are going to be since they were their coach. But at the same time, he would know how to maybe attack their defense since they went with an in-house hire on the defensive side of the ball instead of an outside hire. So I'll stick with my pick of the Lions. Lock of the week.
You get lock of the week first this week, so go ahead.
All right. It's a division game, so those are kind of hard to pick as locks of the week, but the Browns are bad. And the Ravens, they dropped a big lead against Buffalo, but Buffalo's a good team, though, too. So I'm going to go with the Ravens over the Browns.
I like that as a good pick. I hate the Browns, so go. I'm going to pick Buffalo over New York, as I think Buffalo is just so much better than New York that even on their worst day, they're still going to beat the Jets. Rich, upset special of the week. Who you got?
I really had a hard time finding a good matchup.
Oh, I thought there were a few.
So I'm going to go with the Dolphins over the Patriots. Maybe a bounce-back game. And in reading through some articles and where people were much better news pundits than we were making their picks, they pointed out that Tua is 7-0 against the Patriots. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins having a bounce-back game.
Yep, I don't blame you for that. I am going to go Houston over Tampa. I think Houston's a much better team. With that, Rich, Week 3 of Thursday Night Football brings the Dolphins and the Bills head-to-head. You got to go the Bills on this, right?
Yes. I probably will not be watching this game, but yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills.
So here's my thing. I will never officially pick the Dolphins on anything. I will never stake my claim on something that have the Dolphins winning, mostly because one hit to Tua will end their season. If not his life, but will end their season. Why would I ever pick the Dolphins? With that, Rich, we got 8 minutes left in our show. Speedy eye test update?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just go with, you know what, Mike? Let's just go with top 5, bottom 5.
Okay.
No discussion, just who is your top 5 from 1 to 5. And then I'll give mine.
My top 5 is at 1, the Buffalo Bills, at 2, the Chiefs, at 3, the Eagles, at 4, the Bengals, at 5, the Redskins. I'm going to give you 6. I'm going to give you 10. Well, I'm just going to read off 10 because I can do it quick. At 5, the Redskins. At 6, the Ravens. At 7, the Green Bay Packers. Ugh. At 8, the Detroit Lions. At 9, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At 10, the LA Rams.
Okay, Mike, I went with the Bills at 1, the Ravens at 2, Eagles at 3, the Chiefs at 4, the Superchargers at 5, the Lions at 6, the Bengals at 7, Washington at 8, Tampa at 9, and I went with the Minnesota Vikings at number 10.
Okay. I have the Vikings at 12. Where do you have the Packers?
I put the Packers at 11.
And finally, where do you have the Bears?
The Bears I put at 16.
That's up for you, isn't it?
Oh, that's down.
Okay. Mine went down as well as I put them down to 20. Your bottom 5, Rich, give them to me.
All right. Number 28, I went with Carolina. I put the Titans at number 29, the Browns at 30, the Saints at 31, and bringing up the rear, the New York Football Giants.
We have the exact same teams, just in different orders, as I have the Panthers at 28, the Titans at 29. This is where things get different. I have the Giants at 30, the Saints at 31, and the Browns at 32. Yes, that has more to do with my hatred for the Browns and that they are a bad team. Hey, we did it, Rich.
We did. All right, Mike.
Any shout-outs for the show this week?
I do not have any shout-outs.
Okay, I'm going to do it. I said I wasn't going to in the pre-show, but we had the anniversary of 9/11 this week.
Mm-hmm.
Rich, you and I was in high school. Were you a senior, or were you in
I
Had you gone off
was
to boot camp already?
no, I was shipping out the boot camp maybe like a month later.
So we watched what happened. We joined together with what happened on the 12th. And this week, we saw things in this country spiral into a terribleness that I can't even describe. I felt like this 9/11 was the least patriotic 9/11 I've been a part of since the first one. No remembrance happening. There are families that still remember, and people post on Facebook, "We'll never forget," but we've forgotten. Get off your social medias. Turn it off. We don't need that stuff anymore. All it is doing is dividing us. Social media's figured out that rage gets much more engagement than happiness. People are celebrating the death of someone. Ridiculous. We had a school shooting. Ridiculous. We had a young lady who fled war to come to this country to make a better life get murdered on a train. My heart breaks for America right now. We look at 9/11 as a day to remember and to be patriotic. That's why it's been deemed Patriot Day. I don't know if I feel very patriotic, Rich.
Yeah. It was a tough week, very much divided because of the events that happened.
And I can't do it
Too
anymore.
much.
You and I have both deleted Facebook from our phones, and I think life's been better for it. I can't anymore. And I will continue to try to spread love. There's more in this country that unites us and divides us, and if you can't find that, then you're not talking to your neighbors that don't agree with you. You go next door to people that have different views of you, and they're not monsters. Heck, go talk. The biggest example I have of this is a few months back, Bill Maher went to a dinner at the White House, and he talked about it. And he talked about how the president isn't this raving lunatic that we all see on TV. He talked about that in real life he's a human being. And that shocked him. Does that mean that he doesn't play a raving lunatic in the media? Maybe. Or that the media paints him as such? Maybe. I don't know. But what we have to understand is that nobody deserves what happened to those children. Nobody deserves what happened to that Ukrainian young lady. Nobody deserves what happened to the people at the event for Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk's family and himself did not deserve what happened. I love this country. You fought, you signed up and served your country. We love this country. But right now, this country's being pretty hard to love. And it's the people, and it's the media, and it's the social media, and get off of it. That's what I've tried to do. Get to know your neighbors. Share some love. I just can't. Let's get back to the feeling that we were one country on September 12th, 2001. Let's get back to the fact that we loved one another and we cared for one another and we didn't see a political divide as a chasm so deep that the only solution was to kill those on the other side. I love you guys. And Rich, maybe it's just you listening to this, and then you're kind of an echo chamber to me because I think you feel very similarly. But we have a platform. Maybe it's just to the two of us. And I got to say stuff. That's all I got.
All right. Well said, Mike. So, Mike, let's go ahead and roll. Anywho, you can catch us every week on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube and you want to just take the audio version, look us up wherever you find all of your favorite podcasts. Poll questions are on the Fans of Balls and Sticks podcast. With all that being said, Mike, go ahead and roll the outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.